Here we go. It's a Thursday evening edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. What else is new? It rained today, and in some places it rained quite a bit. We thought that an average of about a half an inch of rain would fall, and generally speaking, that turned out to be the case today. But of course, there were some higher totals where some downpours set up. Here's a look at some local rain gauges. In Boardman, 0.77 here, 0.47 just off to the west. We'll go over towards the Poland area. And let me zoom out here. There we go. 1.15 at this gauge around the Poland area, and then just south 0.78. You go down into Columbiana County, and there's not as many gauges in the southern part of Columbiana County, but in the northern part of the county around Columbiana, about a third of an inch, quarter of an inch around the Salem area. Down towards East Liverpool, where they had some heavier rain for a while, 0.63 inches here in Pleasant Heights. And then just across the river, almost an inch in Chester. So, depending on where you lived, you got quite a bit of rain today. Some places had as little as a quarter of an inch or so. Just one of those things. About 3/4 of an inch officially at the airport today, and that takes us well above an inch now for the month so far. Year-to-date rainfall anomalies, in other words, difference from average. This goes all the way back to January 1st, total precipitation. Anomalies here. Let me see if I can bring up the legend. Sometimes I can't do it. My browser is shrunk like this. Yeah, it doesn't seem to want to let me. But we're running about 125% of average right now. In other words, about 25% above average, or we've gotten 125% of our normal rainfall for the year to date. Of course, the year is just a little over halfway through. So all of Ohio is doing well in the rain category this year. New England's had a drier than average year. Parts of the southeast, including northern Florida, have had a drier than average year. But of course, it's been really wet this year in Texas, parts of Oklahoma, and New Mexico. And this is good news for them. Of course, they had a lot of flooding problems. That's bad news, but they were in a pretty severe drought, and the rains this year have helped out a lot. It is a little drier this year in the upper Midwest, but plenty of rain this year, no threat of a drought. Great Lakes, Ohio, lower Ohio, and even upper Ohio Valley. So back to the current situation. The clouds have stuck around, but the rain is pretty much done. Could be a pocket of drizzle here and there this evening. That's about it. Severe weather threat over towards Philadelphia and New York City this evening. Notice the clearing is taking place up here to the north and west. This is going to slowly but surely work in. It might take until the very end of the night tonight before we start to see some appreciable clearing. If we do, though, might be some fog trying to set up, so watch out for a little fog as we go into tomorrow morning. I want to show you the dew points. Let's stop the loop here. It's still muggy out there. Dew points this evening are in the mid-60s to around 70. The drier air is lurking where the clearing is, well behind the front, off to the north and west. And these 50s dew points are going to work in during the day tomorrow. So it's going to feel a lot different as we go into our Friday. Let's blitz through the next handful of days here. A little bit of a broad brush because the weather is not terribly complicated in the near term. Tomorrow on Friday the 10th, our front is going to stall off to the south and continue just kind of lollygag down through there. And there's a little bubble of high pressure you can analyze up across Michigan tomorrow, and that'll give us a mix of sun and clouds. There's going to be some high clouds trying to come in off of this precipitation. So not a bright and sunny day most of the day tomorrow, but still a nice one because of the dew point drop, certainly. And then Saturday, if you have outdoor plans, smooth sailing. The day might start with a few clouds as this little wave pushes off to our south and east, but then it turns bright and sunny as we get into the afternoon on Saturday. It should be a great summer day, about 84 degrees, low humidity, good day to jump in the pool or do anything outdoors. Just a great summer day coming up on our Saturday. Now, Sunday promises to be a little bit different, and there's some back and forth on the computer models about how Sunday will go down here. I think the day definitely starts dry, but there's going to be another little disturbance on the same front. The same front's going to just keep, wobbling around. Little disturbances right along it. And some of the modeling is certainly trying to bring in a shower or a thunderstorm by the end of the day Sunday. The GFS here would suggest that we stay mostly dry, but other modeling does bring stuff in, so we've got a 30% chance in our forecast. I certainly would not cancel outdoor plans on Sunday. Next week, we're going to head into a pretty unsettled pattern, at least for a few days, with a few rounds of showers and storms. Let me show you the upper levels. I actually did this on the news this evening, something I don't often do because this is a little bit geeky, but showing you the upper level flow here at about 18,000 feet. Next week, dominated by a ridge over Texas. Trough in the west. That's different because, of course, they've had a ridge for a lot of the summer, and then kind of a troughy pattern in the east. So you got a trough ridge trough pattern setting up, and little and medium-sized disturbances will come into the northwest, and then they can't go down here because of the ridge, so they have to go up here, and then they cascade down into the base of the trough in the east. Bottom line for us is we will, as long as this pattern is in place, we'll see some unsettled weather. It doesn't mean it's a rainy pattern necessarily, but it means that almost every day, at least through the first half of next week, we're going to have the chance for the occasional shower and thunderstorm. It'd be nice if we had a week of dry weather. We really need it, but it's going to be hard to pull that off in this pattern. Here's late next week. You notice the pattern has not changed much. Our ridge is still over Texas, still a trough in the east. Not only does this keep it unsettled, but it locks up the heat out here as well. So while a lot of the time will be seasonable, or maybe a little below average, we're not going to see 90 anytime soon. That's fine with me, and it's fine for a lot of people's electric bills. But if you're longing for some heat, my dad likes it really hot. I don't understand why, but if you're one of those people, then you're not going to be real happy with this pattern all the way through. This is taking us into late next week. That's the 15th. Here's the 16th. So that would be, what, a week from tomorrow? Today. A week from today. And while the ridge might break down some towards next weekend over Texas, overall the pattern won't change a whole lot. So that's the way things look in the medium range. How about the real long range? Let's focus on August. It's only the 9th of July. But a real quick look at what the climate models are doing for August. Take this with a grain of salt, as you do any model, but particularly a climate model that the period it's forecasting for doesn't even start for 3 weeks. Cooler than average Rockies Plains in August, maybe cooler than average around parts of the Great Lakes, and warmer than average in the southeast and along the west coast. This isn't, the odds aren't bad, for this to come to fruition, because this is the pattern we've been in for months, it seems like. We had this in the winter, we're having it in the summer. I wouldn't bet against this. As far as precipitation goes, the latest 7 runs of the CFS model, the Climate Forecast System model here, paint a similar picture to what we've had for a lot of the summer in the Rockies and parts of the Plain States. Now, it does advertise a pretty close to average month in terms of precipitation here, which means 3.5, 4 inches worth of rain in August. That's about par. So we'll see what the trends on this set of models are as we get a little closer to August. But since the weather's quieting down this evening, I thought I would take a sneak peek at the models for next month. A lot of us would love to have a dry month and a more summer-like month, because June stunk and July hasn't been all that great so far. So a little preview of what August may have in store. Thank you for watching the Thursday night weather for Weather Geeks. Full update on the 7-day forecast tonight at 11, and I will see you tomorrow afternoon for more geeky weather stuff.